Australians.
Big promises are made about the savings that the push for unlegislating will bring. So how does the government come up with the figures, and will it go and check to see if the savings have been realised? To find out, I spoke to the Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister, Josh Frydenberg. Josh Frydenberg, welcome to Capitol Hill.
Nice to be with you.
If we could start with the video that came out yesterday of the young Australian who went overseas to join the Islamic State extremists. What does that say to you about the problem of the radicalisation of some young Australians?
Well, it's a chilling reminder of the threat we face, and as you say, it's a small number of young people who have been radicalised. Some are in Australia, some have travelled overseas, and our intelligence and law enforcement agencies are monitoring these people and also have been better resourced under this government to try and deal with the threat. But it is a reminder that the threat is real, radicalisation is real, and we need to work with local communities to prevent that.
Some of that money that was announced, the $630 million, went to try and prevent the radicalisation. Would it be better as a prevention strategy for more of that money to be spent trying to prevent it happen in the first place rather than dealing with the aftermath?
Well, I think those two aims are not mutually exclusive. I think you can put significant amount of funds into building community harmony and important outreach measures. At the same time, you need to resource our law enforcement intelligence agencies to prevent an attack on home soil if, that is a real and present threat, which it is. So you've got to meet both objectives simultaneously.
If we could go now to what is, I think, the second of the deregulation days in Parliament, what bits of red tape will you be trying to scrap today?
Well, we'll be introducing to the Parliament a series of bills which will bring another 1,000 pieces of legislation and regulation off the statute books. More than 7,200 pages of legislation and regulation will be abolished. Our total number of savings for families and businesses will be more than $2.1 billion.
How do you quantify that level of savings?
Well, individual departments quantify the compliance savings to particular stakeholders who will be impacted upon these reforms, and the Office of Best Practice Regulation, in a rigorous and impartial way, measures it. But in terms of some of the savings that we have announced, it's better interaction for individuals with government through the MyGov site. More than 5 million Australians are able to now go online through a centralised portal to deal with Centrelink and Medicare. MyTax is a system which more than 1.4 million Australians will now have information pre-populated on their tax returns from information government already has.
In terms of the savings from measures like those, you are guessing, aren't you, that say a certain proportion of time is saved and that adds up to a cost?
No, there's rigorous economic and econometric analysis of those savings, and it's based on the number of people who use those services and weighted costs accordingly.
Do you have measures in place to go back and check that the amount of savings you hoped to be realised have actually been realised?
Oh, we absolutely keep a watching brief on all of this, and obviously some of these pieces of legislation we blocked in the Senate. But one of the messages out of the first repeal day, Lyndall, was that we were very successful in getting our omnibus bill through the Senate. Our changes to the agriculture and veterinary chemicals scheme, our changes to the classification of films and movies and reducing some of the compliance there, all got through the Senate. Our changes to the future of financial advice.
So there will be somewhere where you can point to in the budget or in the reckoning to say this is the amount of money that was actually saved?
Well, we put out a document today which will be over 50 pages in length, detailing all these particular measures and the particular savings. We did that again with the first repeal day.
But that's perspective, saying we will save this amount of money. I'm asking, after the process, maybe a year after, will there be some sort of reckoning to say, actually, yes, we did save this amount of money, or we didn't save as much as we thought we would?
Well, that's actually exactly what I'll be talking about in my statement to the Parliament next year. It's an annual statement in the first quarter of next year where we actually give a report card on our deregulation efforts. But the main message, Lyndall, is today we have announced measures which total more than $2 billion worth of savings. And this has been extremely well received by the not-for-profit sector, by the business community, BCA, ACCI, the Australian Industry Group, but also individuals and families who will be great beneficiaries.
Josh Frydenberg, thank you very much for your time.
Nice to be with you.